I need to say this out loud because I just can't believe that it actually happened. So I went on a date last week with a guy, and the date didn't go good. He was just giving hater number one, like, couldn't be happy for anything that I said or anything that I was doing, didn't give me, like, a single compliment or anything. There's so much more to it that I'll explain if somebody wants, because it's honestly really bad. But after the date, I just decided, like, he was so fucking rude, I don't really owe him to talk to him again. So I stopped talking to him, and that was 5 days ago. Then yesterday, he DM'd me a video on TikTok. He doesn't even follow me on TikTok or anything. And it was this guy talking about how all women are crazy and we act through emotions and we just can't think logically because we're such emotional beings. And when you sign up to be a boyfriend, that's what you're signing up for. You're not signing up to be a therapist or listen to your girlfriend's cries for help. And I was just like, I can't believe he sent that to me. Like, that's really weird, right?
Story time on my ex-best friend getting me over my ex of 5 years to then get in a relationship with him. Some girls, right, okay, where do I even start? Me, my ex-best friend, my ex-boyfriend, and my ex-best friend's partner were a group of 4. We were the happiest group of 4, like we all went on holiday together, everything like that. We were together, like me and my ex were together for 5 years, and we met my ex-best friend like in like 1 year in, if that makes sense. So yeah, we've known them, well, her, the majority of our relationship. Have I ever suspected anything 4 years in? Yeah. But you know what, you never expect that from them, do you? Like, my ex-boyfriend was saying, like, the day before we broke up, oh, like, I can't, like, wait to propose to you, like, we're gonna get engaged soon. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I'm so excited, like, that's all I ever wanted.
Get ready with me while I tell you how I found out my ex-boyfriend was lying about his age, cheating on me with dozens of people, and talking to minors on social media. Like, what was I thinking? I saw a bunch of people on here telling stories of terrible things that their exes have done, but they still stayed with them. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I too have been a victim of relationship delusion. Anyways, yeah, I met this man in 2020 when I was 17 and he said he was 20. And we started dating in 2021 when I was 18 and he was 21. So yeah, basically I was already a victim. I fully thought this man was the love of my life, because not only was he love bombing the hell out of me, but I'm a trans woman and dating for us is hard. I thought I would never get the chance to find love again, so I was clinging on to this man for dear life and just like ignoring all the red flags, which there were plenty. I was living in my home state of Michigan at the time, but I'm a content creator and I had gotten an opportunity to live in LA for a few months to be a part of a content house. Yeah, him and I decided to do long distance while I was in LA, and I was fully convinced that this man was gonna remain faithful and honest.
I bought a pair of shoes online last night that I've been wanting for ages, and it reminded me of this guy that I used to date who was absolutely obsessed with my feet being smaller than they were. This guy loved to shop, right? And like, both of us really loved shopping for shoes. I'm a ladies 38, which is like, what, a size 7? That's like a pretty standard shoe size, right? Time we were away shopping, and we're in the Balenciaga store at the time, and I was looking at getting, you know, those like classic Balenciaga sneakers, but they have the size on the front of them. He goes to the lady, yeah, we'll grab them. Do you have a 35 or 36? And I'm like, to him, I'm like, I'm very much a 38. Like, I'm not a 36. And he's like, darling, you can't be having 38 on the front. That's so embarrassing. Like, da-da-da-da-da. So I was literally talked in to getting the size 36 and just like squeezing my feet into them. Like, he'd often surprise me with shoes. I spoke about a pair of sneakers or a pair of heels that I'd seen and wanted. He might like surprise me with them, but like, they'd be too small. It was just the weirdest thing. And like, my friends would just be like, that is so weird. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time squeezing my feet into shoes that were too small. Luckily, my best friend is literally a freak of nature and has a lady's 5-6 foot. So she was able to inherit a fair few pairs of shoes. The shoes I ordered last night are in my own size.
So my divorce settlement is coming to a close, so I can finally tell the story. So the last time that my ex had ever cheated on me, it was after he'd already cheated on me. He'd come back begging, like, I love you, please be with me, and I gave him another chance stupidly. But after his initial affair with this woman, this happened like 8 months later. It was like around Christmas. So he works interstate, so we're in constant communication. But one night he was being really weird. Like, he wouldn't answer my phone calls, he wouldn't answer my messages. He kept saying he was going in and out of range. By this point, I'd already been cheated on, so I was super suspicious of him. Anyway, after a few hours of this, me trying to call him, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'll call you later, I'll call back, I'll call back. I'm like, you need to call me now, you need to message me now. And he's still not responding to me. And the idiot, this is how stupid he is. So we're a family, right? So we have all of our iPhones, all of our technology set up to the Find My iPhone system, like the family one. And I don't usually check it because I'm way too traumatized. On this night, I'm like, no, I need answers. Like, something is not right. So I jump on Find My iPhone. He's away for work, right? So he's meant to be on site on his campsite. He's not on his campsite. He's in this little small country town that is a couple of hours away from his campsite. There is no reason that he should be in this small country town. There is nothing there. There's like a pub and there is his mistress's house. So I get this address up and I'm like, I know that you're not at work. And he's like, I am at work. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm just doing a run. I have to pick up some parts. I'm like, nah, I know something's up. So I get one of my friends, one of my work friends. I'm like, call her. And we're both trying to call them at the same time. My friend's calling her, I'm calling him. And they're both hanging up at the exact same time. And at this point, I'm like, do I tell him that I've tracked him? Because then, like, that's just showing my cards. Like, he's going to turn off Find My iPhone. I won't be able to find him. But I'm like, nah, I have to tell him. I'm like, I know that you are in this place. Like, I've checked Find My iPhone and he's like losing it. He's like, you have me under surveillance. I can't believe this. You're so insecure. I can't deal with your anxiety. So my divorce settlement is coming to a close, so I can finally tell the story. So the last time that my ex had ever cheated on me, it was after he'd already cheated on me. He'd come back begging, like, I love you, please be with me, and I gave him another chance stupidly. But after his initial affair with this woman, this happened like 8 months later. It was like around Christmas. So he works interstate, so we're in constant communication. But one night he was being really weird. Like, he wouldn't answer my phone calls, he wouldn't answer my messages. He kept saying he was going in and out of range. By this point, I'd already been cheated on, so I was super suspicious of him. Anyway, after a few hours of this, me trying to call him, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'll call you later, I'll call back, I'll call back. I'm like, you need to call me now, you need to message me now. And he's still not responding to me. And the idiot, this is how stupid he is. So we're a family, right? So we have all of our iPhones, all of our technology set up to the Find My iPhone system, like the family one. And I don't usually check it because I'm way too traumatized. On this night, I'm like, no, I need answers. Like, something is not right. So I jump on Find My iPhone. He's away for work, right? So he's meant to be on site on his campsite. He's not on his campsite. He's in this little small country town that is a couple of hours away from his campsite. There is no reason that he should be in this small country town. There is nothing there. There's like a pub and there is his mistress's house. So I get this address up and I'm like, I know that you're not at work. And he's like, I am at work. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm just doing a run. I have to pick up some parts. I'm like, nah, I know something's up. So I get one of my friends, one of my work friends. I'm like, call her. And we're both trying to call them at the same time. My friend's calling her, I'm calling him. And they're both hanging up at the exact same time. And at this point, I'm like, do I tell him that I've tracked him? Because then, like, that's just showing my cards. Like, he's going to turn off Find My iPhone. I won't be able to find him. But I'm like, nah, I have to tell him. I'm like, I know that you are in this place. Like, I've checked Find My iPhone and he's like losing it. He's like, you have me under surveillance. I can't believe this. You're so insecure. I can't deal with your anxiety.
Things my ex-boyfriend did and I still stayed. On my birthday, we got into a fight, so he threw my present into oncoming traffic. He made me sleep on FaceTime with him every single night because he thought I would just text boys all night. One time when we were hanging out, I caught him cheating and he ran upstairs, locked himself in his mom's room and was saying he was gonna off himself. I invited him camping one time with my family and he woke me up in the middle of the night and he was threatening to go wander around in the woods. And it was like 3 a.m. So I had to beg him all night to stay awake all night to make sure he didn't leave. He would go through like my text with my family. Like no one else, but always like my mom and my dad and my sister. One time we went mini golfing and I wasn't taking the game serious enough and so he stormed off and left. And I still don't know where he went to this day. Whenever I would post like a selfie on my story, he would remake the same selfie and pose and post it on his story mocking me. Whenever we would get into a fight, he would turn his location on and go to his ex's house. This one girl had texted him and said, if you bring me a Diet Coke, I'll give you a kiss. So he did. And I'm pretty sure I was at his house. And then after, I found out about it the next day from all his friends and he tried to gaslight me and tell me that we weren't exclusive. One time, we got into a fight in physics class. So he broke up with me during that class. He would mock my family members or make fun of them and like talk crap on them to me. I could make like 4 more of these, but here is the makeup for today. Love you all.
So I just did the thing. I can't believe I did the thing. That was the hardest goodbye I've ever had to do. I've been bawling for the last 3 hours, so I'm kind of just like numb. We literally hugged for the last 3 hours. And then we decided sitting here is not gonna make any of this easier. We hugged. That's the last time I'm ever gonna see him again. Well, that got me. That got me. He said that to me. He's like, you sure you want this to be the last time we ever see each other again? Straight up. We were gonna have a nice dinner. Sat down, started eating. I couldn't keep it together. I felt like I was gonna throw up. Started bawling. He realized, oh, this is something different. Not just, I miss you, because I moved back home, you know? He cried. I spilled. Or tried to. I wrote like a whole note I ended up giving him because I was not articulating very well. Literally the last 4 years I spent with him flashed through my head, and I just completely lost it. I still do think that this is for the best for the both of us, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. I loved that man. I don't think the emotions have hit. They probably will on my drive home, because I'm about to turn on some Noah Khan, some sad music. He took it so well. The way that he handled it made it even harder to like follow through and do. There was a point when I was like, do I want this? But like I have been telling myself that I want this. I could not go back now. I need peace. I need clarity. And I think this is the start of a very exciting new chapter where I find myself, begin my healing process. It's gonna be a lot of emotions, lots of pain, lots of sadness, but I feel like this might just be the start of something very beautiful. So, yeah. I opened my fortune cookie because we went to Panda Express. It reads, take the risk you've been considering.
One time I came across my ex on Tinder, and for whatever reason, curiosity just got to me, and I decided to swipe right on him, which that like shows you how ill I was, because why was I first of all on Tinder? Second of all, why would I literally swipe right on that man? I don't. It had been years, and I was curious, okay? I just wanted, take a little look, see, or whatever, and then I realized that we matched, and I was like, never mind. I panicked. I was like, never mind. So I unmatched him, and lucky for me, the next day I was going to LA for a writing trip. So I fled the state. For a couple days, I didn't hear anything. I thought I was safe. I thought I was good to go. Until I got a text message as soon as I landed in LA. Oh, what do you think that my ex-boyfriend had sent to me? Do you think he sent me a, hey, saw you on Tinder, or like a screenshot of us matching on Tinder? Nope. Tell me why it was a Vimeo link to a video that he had created, that he had overdubbed his own voice on. It said, what happens when you come across your ex on Tinder? And then it had a beautiful photo montage of us. The song playing in the background was The Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine. It was a very cinematic, artful, if you will, in which he was saying, when I saw your Tinder profile, all of these memories of the 4 years we spent together came flooding back, and here's what it looked like inside my head, and then I decided, yes, and I swiped right. So I thought that like he didn't notice that we matched. Turns out he was just doing that, making the Dog Days Are Over compilation. So he sent that to me. I deeply, deeply wish that I still had it, but he deleted it as soon as I told him, hey, I hated that. Then he said sorry, and we never talked again. And yeah, I never told anyone about it because I thought it was really crazy and embarrassing, but now you guys know. So
guys, this guy flew me to Miami for our like second date for like a vacation thing, and I'm pretty sure he ghosted me while we were here. Like, he left. I have no idea why, and I know this sounds like naive, but I really don't think it was anything I did, but TBD, because I don't know why he left or when he left or how. He drove, but whatever. We're gonna call him Michael for the purpose of this story. So yesterday Michael was like, oh, I'm gonna go get lunch with my sister really quickly. I haven't seen her in 2 years. I'll be back at noon. I was like, okay, cool. Just don't forget we have these hard to get lunch reservations at 1:30. He's like, yeah, I'll be back before then. So I went to the pool, minded my business, soaking up the sun. At 1:10, I was like, hey, where are you? Like, don't forget about lunch. No answer. And then at 1:20, I said, where are you? Like, are you picking me up for lunch? Because he has his car here. Like, he drove a couple of hours away from Tampa. And I was like, hey, like, where are you? Then I started getting really frustrated, and I texted him something like, yo, this is just so disrespectful to me and my time, and like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, sorry to be non-responsive. I just found out some devastating news, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm a very caring person. I don't think that's the word. But I'm a very trusting person, so I was like, oh yeah, like something happened. Which to this time, I feel like something still happens. My friend don't think that something happened. They're like, oh, he definitely has a secret wife who was like, get your ass home. But it gets worse. I pushed the reservation back to 2. He misses that reservation too. And like, this is before he told me he had this, quote, devastating incident. And so housekeeping, and I promise this is important, housekeeping ends up coming, and I was like, okay, like this is at 3:30, I think. I was like, you can come on in. And after they made the bed, I took a nap. And so obviously they cleaned the shower too, which is important. And as I'm getting ready to go hang out with some of my other friends, I was like, fuck this. And I think this is still before I knew what happened. Actually, I think I knew that there's this, quote, devastating event. And so then I look around and I look in the corner and I realize his stuff's not there. I was like, did he come get his stuff while I was taking a nap? Like, that is so disrespectful. And there is the possibility that he possibly got it while I was at the pool and he was supposed to be home by noon and like all of that. That could have possibly been when he got it, but I don't know because we're both very clean.
I broke up with my boyfriend. Story time. So I was dating my boyfriend for like 11 months, which is currently now my ex. Also, I broke up with him 2 weeks ago, so yeah. Y'all are probably asking why I broke up with him. So let me tell you the reasons. So he took me to his homecoming, and at the dance, he was literally like standing like 2 feet away from me when we're literally dating. And he didn't even asked me to dance, so there's that. So literally, we were sitting down at the table while everyone else was dancing and like laughing around with the friends, and he was being so awkward. Not just that, he gave me the paper the day of the homecoming dance. And guess what the paper needed? My principal's signature. So I had to contact my principal. Another reason is that he was just so clingy and needy. He came over every weekend without even my permission. He'd literally just show up at my house. And I'm like, bro, I need 1 weekend to myself. Not just that, he'd ask to go to the gas station, so I'd take him, and he's like, you're paying. Literally, I paid for everything. I don't think he paid once. What pisses me off even more is that he literally acted like a baby. Like, if you were to meet him, he literally acted like a baby around me. I had to take care of him. I was so tired. And literally, he'd want to, like, be touching me 24/7. I'm like, bro, I'm not into that. One time, he literally got pissed at me for not giving him a hug when he was about to leave. I'm like, you're fucking crazy, bro. And he literally cried for, like, 2 weeks. He's still crying because I broke up with him. And I haven't shedded one tear. But, like, can someone tell me, am I supposed to be crying? Because this is my first breakup ever. He was my first boyfriend. And I'm not crying. Is it bad that I'm not crying? Please, someone let me know. But yeah, that's the reasons why. Trust me, there's many more. But, like, low-key, life has been so much better without him. Like, I just love being single. Like, I just have a much better connection with my parents now. And the reason is literally because he's not over 24/7. So I actually have time to spend time with my family. Anyway, that's all. So yeah, bye guys.
In honor of the 1-year anniversary of the actual worst day of my life, here's how I found out my boyfriend of 7 years was cheating on me. Start off by saying that before everything went down, this was my longest and healthiest relationship. This man absolutely adored me and I adored him. Everybody around us knew that. We were best friends before anything. We lived together. We rebuilt a home together. We did the whole shebang. We all thought we would end up growing old together. So this was definitely a shocker. I was a bartender and he was recently undergoing new management. They didn't know if they were going to close the shop down. There's a lot of stuff going on in his workspace. Eventually it got bought out. This new owner brought in new people, including his daughter. One night I was sending pictures over of our dog. He was our dog. Over from his phone to my phone. And as I did that, the first message that popped up was a little Instagram emoticon and the little profile pic bubble was a half-naked girl. So naturally, I want to go check his Instagram. I had seen that they had been talking for some time, and it did seem a little bit flirty, so I confronted him about it. And a little introduction, because I forgot it, he said that this was his new coworker Lori, who he was training. He said that she has a girlfriend, and it's not like that, and that's just how he talks to all his coworkers. And mind you, it could have passed off as that. She did have a little bit more of an androgynous look to her, so I just blew it off. I was like, well, this is Chad. We'll name him. This is Chad. Chad wouldn't do this to me. And so that was that. Further down the line, I noticed a slight change in behavior. I don't feel like we were connecting as much, and he had mentioned that he was about to turn 30 and he wasn't where he wanted to be in life, and that he kind of just wanted to focus on himself. So I respected that. As much as I wanted to be there for him, he never really allowed me to be that person for him. And this wasn't just the...
If you guys want to know how my day's going, I just paid my ex-boyfriend $5,000 because he sued me for our dog. Originally, I didn't think that I was going to post about this, but I absolutely am because it's literally so absurd. I have my court papers here that he served to me on my birthday that I will read for you guys. But first, I think it's important to give a backstory on why I got the dog to begin with when I moved out when my ex and I broke up. We were obviously living together at the time. We were living together for a little over a year. And on the day that we broke up, he was at work. It was a Thursday, like in the middle of the day, and I was working from home. We were fighting for a good like 2 weeks, and I think we both knew like that the end was near, but he texted me on this day, on the Thursday, and was like, we need to talk when I get home. And I was like, are you breaking up with me? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay, what are we gonna do with Bella? Bella was like 100% my first concern. That's really all I cared about at this point. But he texted back and he was like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. So he gets home from work at like noon on the day that we broke up, and he walks in the door and he was like, we're breaking up. I'm taking Bella, you're never gonna see her again. And I was like, what do you mean? You just told me that we would figure something out. And he was like, yeah, I just said that so that you wouldn't like take the dog before I got home. He was like, say your goodbyes. Like, I'm taking her to my parents' house right now until you move out of this house. And at this point, I'm like hysterically crying. Like, I think he knew that the only way that he could possibly hurt me was to like take my dog. Like, I don't even think that I can really like conceptualize for you guys how upset and just like in pain I would be if he would have taken her that day. So I'm like hysterically crying at this point. I like grabbed her by the collar and I grabbed my keys. And so I had my keys in my phone and I had Bella by the collar, and I'm like, no, I'm taking her like out the back door. Like, I was like, I'm leaving with her. You're not taking her to your parents. So I tried to take her out the back door. He slammed the door in my face. Things got really heated. I was like, I'm calling the police. And he was like, Erin, you're not calling the police. I grabbed my phone and I started dialing 911, and he took my phone away from me. So I ran up the stairs with Bella into like the guest room that I was using as my office at the time. And I like grabbed my work phone. Luckily my work phone was charged, and I called the police off of my work phone. Cops came and they let me take Bella home with me that day, but they were like, you two need to like figure it out on your own. Like, the cops aren't gonna get involved with like who gets to keep custody of a dog. So they were like, yeah, maybe in a couple of days when you like come back to get more of your stuff, you can like bring her and drop her off for a couple of days. But I'm sorry to do this. I'm gonna have to go to part 2 on how I got sued for $5,000.
Story time. My husband left me while I eat pizza. So my husband left in August. I like to say 6 months ago, but however many months August was ago, feels like 7 years. My husband, I threw him out and he never came back. And usually he like breaks in the window or something, but he didn't this time. He literally never came back. He came to see the baby one time. He stayed for 45 minutes. He never wants to see her. He doesn't even ask for pictures of her. I'm pretty sure he left me for a Dominican woman. I'm like 99.9.9.9% sure it's a Dominican woman or man. For his reputation, we'll stick to woman. I'm going nuts here in Rhode Island. I'm going nuts. I'm all by myself. All of my family is in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I have nobody here. I don't have a sister, a mother, a cousin, a friend. My only friend was my husband, and he's not being a very good friend right now. So, trying to get back to New Jersey. I would like to rent an apartment in New Jersey so I could be closer to my family, so they can help me with my baby, because I have a 9-month-old baby. We were together for 5 years. We were married 5 years, and it's the second I had a baby, the second I popped out a baby, he left. Of all times to leave. When I have a baby.
In this video now, I'm going to be talking about some things that I've never shared publicly with anyone, mainly because I had minor children at home, but my children have grown, and I feel it's time to share the full details of the story, everything that I experienced, everything I worried about, everything I was concerned about. So it's still March 18th, 2009. I've sent the kids to bed because it's a school night so they can get ready for school the next day. And Thing One and I have a conversation. I've had some time to think about the day, think about everything you shared. Of course, I have questions about many, many, many things, but the big question in my mind at that time was regarding the infidelity. And I said to him, how many call girls? How many times? For how long? When did you first hire a call girl, etc.? And he looked at me and said, I don't know when the first time was. I was so appalled by that. If I did something like that, I would know to the day, to the minute, where I was when I had betrayed someone like that. But he didn't know. Didn't even apparently bother him enough to note the day or the time or to know when it had happened the first time. Then I asked him how many times, how many women, how many people, how many locations, everything. He didn't know the answer to any of that. And I was appalled, and I let him know. And he said, what difference does it make? It doesn't matter when I did it or how many times. And I said, oh, yes, it does. It absolutely matters. He said, it really matters to you? He said, there's no difference between 3 women or 33 women. And I said, oh, yes, there is. And he argued with me about that. But when he finally realized I was serious, he said something like, oh, okay, well, it was only 3. We'll just say it was only 3. I went to bed. I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned all night. I kept thinking about that he had engaged with. Kept thinking about that he'd hired apparently in his travels around the world.
I'm going to tell you the story of how I found out the guy I was seeing for over a year had a pregnant wife. I recently posted a video about it, and I had so many comments asking me for a story time of how I actually found out, and that's what this video is. So, firstly, there was definitely signs along the way that I just didn't realize. They seemed like innocent little comments until now I know what I know, and I see them differently. So we met at the start of last year, around January or February, when I moved up here for work, and we've known each other for a little over a year now, probably like 1 year, 1 month. And so, for example, we train together. He knows that I make TikToks. He follows me on TikTok. He's going to be watching this video, by the way, guys. So I need to be careful with what I say. Yeah, so we're training together. I film my TikToks. I'm like telling him like, oh, I'm thinking of filming my set for TikTok. And he's like, something along the lines of, oh, just make sure you don't get me in it. And I didn't think anything of it, of course, because sometimes people don't want to be online. They like privacy. Completely fine. Not a big deal. No worries. I won't film. Didn't think anything of it ever again.
even like the videos of me at the gym, if I'm like talking to a guy or whatever in the gym, I've had their consent to put that on TikTok. I haven't just like randomly spoken to people or mentioned people or filmed people without them knowing, unless they're like really far in the background, okay? So the fact that he didn't want to be in the video, I didn't think anything of it. So basically I found out 2 days ago now. The way that I found out is he told me. I didn't find out on my own doing. He told me. We talk every day, texting on the phone. We're just having like a regular conversation, and he was going somewhere. I'm not going to mention details because the idea of me posting this is not to blast him on the internet, because the internet is a nasty place. There's so many people that leave such nasty things and bully people, and I've dealt with it firsthand making this TikTok when I don't even really say like stuff that's that mean and worthy of being bullied over. But that's not the idea. I'm not going to be outing him. I'm not going to be blasting him on the internet. So if that's what you're looking for, it's not going to happen, okay? So he mentioned in conversation, very casually, very randomly, I didn't bring it up, he just mentioned it. He said he's going to this place and his wife and kids are coming, which is annoying because he wanted to go by himself. And he's actually made jokes in the past about having a wife, in the sense of like, oh, I have to go now, I got to go home to my wife, haha. And so he's fucked around with me before and made jokes about it before. So when he was like mentioned that in conversation, I'm like, haha. He's like what's funny? And I was like, I don't know if you're being serious or if you're joking around. And he's like, I'm being serious. And I still thought for a while that he was just joking around, like trying to get a laugh by like tricking me.
Good morning, friends. I have a story that I want the men's take on and the women's take on to see if I was crazy. This was back in, 2014 when I was dating one of my exes. And he did something and we got in such a huge fucking fight over it. And I think I'm valid, but I just want to talk about it because it was such a it's one of the stories that I go back to and I'm like, well, he did this. And I want the women's take on it. And I want the men to agree, hopefully. And if you don't, I don't know. I want to suss it out. So let's talk about it. Oh, yikes. Taking me back to a time. I was an intern for the Chicago Bandits pro softball team, which is no longer a team, unfortunately. We were unpaid and we really weren't fed, okay? So even if we had weather delays or whatever, like we were just walking around that fucking stadium starving, and we had to either pay for ourselves to get like a stadium hot dog or we just starved, okay? This particular time, I was just starving because I was so fucking busy because I was game day ops and weather delay, not fun, right? I was just starving, and it was like a 16-hour day. I was over it, and I was supposed to sleep over at my boyfriend's house that night. Well, my boyfriend's parents' house. I was like, I'm getting back really late, you know, like it's gonna be like 11 o'clock. Are you sure? Or like it was like 10 o'clock. Are you sure that you still want me to, you know, come over? And he was like, yeah, for sure. I'll come and pick you up. I was like, okay, thanks. He like got this brand new truck, okay? He didn't really pay for it, okay? And I'm like, okay, yeah, you can pick me up like in the truck, like cool, whatever. So he picks me up. I'm gonna go through the story even though I'm like, ooh, whew, cringing that they'll all see it. Hi guys. I'm just gonna tell my own experience, okay? He has this truck, he picks me up, and I'm like, can we please pull through a Wendy's? Like, I'm fucking starving. Haven't eaten all day. Like, I feel like I'm decrepit at this point, you know? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we pull through the Wendy's. I get like a junior bacon cheeseburger with some fries or some shit. I don't even know. Wendy's was not my first choice, but like it was the closest on the way. And I was like, yep, food, pull over. I'm fucking starving. So we did. So I get the cheeseburger, okay? I'm in the passenger seat. They hand me the bag and I'm like, oh my God. And I go in there and I like rip it open and he goes, excuse me? And I was like, yeah? He's like, could you not do that in here? And I literally looked at him and I said, pull into that parking spot right fucking now then. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, first of all, I have a bag laid out. I have the whole wrapper. It's a fucking cheeseburger. It's all going in my mouth. There's no crumbs. There ain't gonna be no crumbs. He was worried about his fucking inside of his car or his truck. So we got in the parking spot. I got out of the car like this. I was like, fucking, get out of the car. And I'm like, he's right there in the driver's seat. I'm right here. I'm looking at him outside of the car. Like this. Couldn't let me eat in the car? Okay. Noted. I eat my meal, standing outside of the truck. And when I finished the meal, I got to get back in the truck. If I was a messy eater, if I was, you know, like I don't know, I just feel like you should let your girlfriend eat the junior bacon cheeseburger when she hasn't eaten all day and she's starving. And we can worry about the crumb, if there was a crumb with a fucking cheeseburger with a soft bun. Can worry about that later. And then on the way home, I was like, you know what? That was really rude. He's like, what do you mean? It's a brand new truck. I'm like, that was really rude. And it's really crazy that you think you're going to get sex tonight. For real. Because as soon as I get in that fucking bed, I'm passing out. And what did I do? Got in that bed. I'm passing out. He's like, what do you mean? What did I do? I'm like, just get the fuck out of my face. Literally, I turned around and I was like, don't look at me. And that's when I realized that I probably shouldn't be with that man. And then I probably waited 2 years too long. Seriously. Now, am I reasonable or am I out of line here? Listen, it's been over 10 years. I don't really care if anyone thinks it's not reasonable. To me, it was. And I think it will be forever until I die. Hope y'all have a fire Saturday.
Hey guys. Obviously, me and my boyfriend broke up. Now ex-boyfriend. And everyone's been asking for a story time. But there's nothing really much to it. Like, it was pretty mutual, I would say, personally. I don't know if it would agree, but I think it's pretty mutual. I don't really know how to, like, make a story time or talk about me and my boyfriend breaking up. Like, I don't really know, but I'm gonna try my best to kind of explain what happened. But nothing really happened. Okay, I'm just gonna give a little bit of backstory. When we met, it was 2023, and we started talking in February. I was 15. And then a couple days before my 16th birthday, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And then I was 16 and he was still 15. Then we were together for a year and 7 months. He lived where I lived. He moved because his parents' family got a different job. And I eventually moved with him about 3 months into our relationship. 3 or 4 months. Okay, backstory's done. I was living with him since November of 2023. I keep moving my hair around, I don't know why. But during last year, I was traveling a lot because obviously I lived away from my family, so I'd come and visit my family. But I was in Adelaide, I was in Darwin a lot. Pretty much just in between Darwin and Western Australia. And I think that made us a bit distant. Anyway, so to the breakup, we just, with our families, enjoying Christmas, holidays, just enjoying our time, really, nothing to it, texting, being normal, but yeah, I was in Northern Territory, he was in Queensland with his family. I still am in Northern Territory, by the way. He said, he texted me one day and he said that he lost feelings for me. I hate to admit it, but I was kind of feeling the same way just before, because I wanted to stay here and continue and get a job here and continue working here, but it was just kind of hard because I didn't want to leave him because that's my boyfriend, like, and I moved for him. So yes, all that was really was just him texting me saying he was kind of losing feelings, and I was like, okay, I understand, I can't stop you from losing feelings. That's it. That's pretty much it. But yeah, that's really the whole story. Just, he's kind of lost feelings for me, and there's nothing else really to it. I don't really know. My Vanessa stuff is getting sent up though, so I should get it tomorrow, hopefully. I still love his family. I love his mum. She's my bestie. I love his whole family. It was a great relationship. I don't have anything really bad to say about it. Ryder, it's great while it lasted. Everything happens for a reason, so just enjoy the time we had and move on, I guess. But yeah, I have nothing really to say. That's really all that happened. Just breakup season, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. Also, I just want to add that I think my Vanessa stuff is coming tomorrow, so I will definitely post a video if it comes. I really hope it comes because I've been waiting. You guys say you've been waiting, but trust me. Trust me. Okay, anyway, sorry that was so boring. It wasn't really that interesting. I was really hurt though at first, but it's okay. Thank you all for the support too. I really appreciate it so much. I love you guys. Bye.
Get ready with me to break up with my boyfriend of 4 years. In that sentence, it doesn't feel real. This has been one of the hardest decisions, and it's definitely going to be one of the hardest videos I ever make. I'm scared. I'm heartbroken. I'm confused. But I know it's time. I know it's past time. And I just hope someday he's able to see that this really was in both of our best interests. I've always known this day would come. I just never really knew when I would actually have the courage to do it. And today is that day. We met in college. We were dorm room neighbors. And at that time, it felt like right person, right time. Like everything was perfect. We had routine. It was comfortable. It was convenient. It made sense. I was so in love. Really thought, this is it. I'm never gonna have to date again. Like I found my person, found my soulmate. This is the one I'm gonna marry. But as we all know, things change. And that's our situation. I graduated college a year and a half ago. We moved out together, even though he was still in college, and was really super excited. You know, like, this is my first time out of school. I'm ready to kind of explore this life, travel, chase my dreams, getting to know myself. And somewhere in that process, I realized I was outgrowing the version of myself that existed in that relationship. It was honestly, like, so difficult. Felt myself almost having to shrink down to fit into the relationship. That's kind of when problems really started to happen. I've known in my gut that I was not in the right relationship for me for about 2 years now, but I loved him so much that I just kept thinking to myself, things will change. And I think when we hit that 4-year mark, hit it in April, I kind of did some deep reflecting. I've been like journaling about this because it's been something that's been on my mind for quite a while now. And I noticed some repeated patterns that I was just hoping and wishing would change, but they weren't changing. And another thing I feel like I should add, I don't want to change a person to like fit with me. Like I want to find something that's just natural. We just got to a point where we didn't really see eye to eye anymore. I realized our goals for the future didn't really align. Just certain like things that are definite deal breakers for me. And I was hoping it would change, but that was wishful thinking. I think the part that makes all of this so hard is nothing catastrophic happened. Like there wasn't any big explosive breakup moment, no cheating, none of that. And that's somehow even more difficult to walk away from. So I packed up 4 years of my life and moved last week. Told him that it was kind of just to find myself and like self-growth, which it totally was. But it was also to separate from the situation and give myself that clarity. Are you making the right decision? Almost immediately, I felt some sort of like peace. That distance gave me clarity that I needed. And I just had to sit down and admit to myself, this is not the love that I want to keep choosing. But moving away has been so hard. So we do like our nightly FaceTime calls. I almost felt like I had to like act like everything was all fine and dandy, even though it wasn't. And I've been holding it in. Feeling like I'm living a lie like that, honestly, broke me. As much as this breakup is going to hurt, I feel like I'm going to feel relieved. I don't have this weight on my chest anymore. It feels like my life's on pause until I get the thing done. Dragging it out is just hurting myself and him more. This is not fair to either of us. I need to do the hard thing that needs to be done. Loving someone and choosing someone are two very different things. You can love something while still realizing it is not good for you. It's just whether or not you choose to walk away. And now I'm choosing to walk away for both of our own goods. I know for a fact I'm the one that has to do it in order for it to be done, even though we both know that this has to happen. I just had to be honest with myself and realize we are not bringing out the best version of each other anymore. This is not really a healthy relationship anymore. Now I have to act. I am terrified to start over. I don't want to live a life out of fear. I want a deep love. I know some people might be wondering, like, why are you making a video about this whole thing? I need this for my coping process, all right? My boyfriend was very private and he kind of wanted me also to be private, which just isn't me. I'm very extroverted. I love talking and having fun, and I'm done pretending to be someone that I'm not. And I also know I am most definitely not the only person out there who's going through a situation like this and holding on to something that is slowly killing them. I'm truly, in my heart of hearts, doing what I feel is right. I can't apologize for that. I am really sad, and it's gonna be really hard to see him hurting, but I know in the long run, this will be for the best for both of us. And I already feel like a part of me that's been missing for so long is coming back. I have no idea what the future has in store. I am optimistic. I'm so proud of myself for
I hooked up with my boss. Back in 2019, I was working at Best Buy. Fucking hated that job. I was in college, I needed the money, and it sucked. It wasn't a relationship at that point, but that relationship was really rocky. I was engaged at that point, and she was ending really bad and really soon. I broke off my engagement. Eventually, I moved out. Not even a week after I moved out of my ex's house, me and my manager, he invited me out for drinks. Little did I know, it was just gonna be me and him. But let's roll it back. I always had a little crush on him. I know, really bad, because I was in a relationship, but the relationship was toxic. If you're a girl, then you know what I mean. When your relationship is nearly ending, you've already grieved the relationship. I hated my ex at this point. For a right reason. He was already cheating on me, and I just didn't know about it. But girl intuition, you know? He would flirt with me, I would giggle. I already knew the feeling was mutual. I just never passed that boundary because I was in a relationship. But the minute I was single, it was free game. That day, I'm thinking there's gonna be multiple people. A lot of the time, we would all meet up at the Applebee's near our job for drinks. It was a normal thing. No one else came. Where's everybody else at? He's like, it's just you and me, boo. I was like, bueno. And I was on my depressed shit. I literally just broke off an engagement, living on my own now, paying my own rent. I hadn't eaten all day. So, you know the Applebee's drinks are huge. I got drunk off of one drink. And this is where he got me. I do not like maraschino cherries. Them shits is nasty. They taste like fucking medicine. I do not like them at all. And he was like, won't you at least try it? He put the damn cherry in his mouth. My dumbass went and took it from his lips. And then it took me like 2 seconds to register. I'm like, wait, I just kissed you. And he's like, yes, you did. When I tell you the gusp I gusp, the woo that I wooed, girl, it felt right though. It really did. I needed that night. I had not felt that type of feeling, that butterfly feeling. You know, when you like someone for the first time and you finally get that kiss, when you feel that spark, when you feel nervous, but a good type of nervous. Or we were playing footsies that whole night in that restaurant. We stayed until the restaurant literally closed. Did I touch my food? No, I took that shit to go. And then ordered a second drink. I finished it and I got super drunk. Like, I have only ever been with one guy to this point. It was really out of my character. This guy, like, he's been experienced. He's older than me. She's a college girl. But I really like this guy, so I'm like, fuck it. I only live once. Let's go. This is how I knew he was a good guy. He acknowledged I was drunk because he handles his liquor way better than me because I'm not much of a drinker. So we went for a walk after the restaurant closed. It was late at night. We both just got off of a long shift. We went to the park. We was making out, getting a little touchy-feely. Things got a little heated. A little too heated, if anything. I was like, shit, am I really gonna go to this man's house and do the deed and be an adult? Yo, I have never done this before. What the fuck am I doing? I stopped myself. He respected that. And after that, we just spent the rest of the night talking at the park, put me in a cab. And from there on, that whole summer, we basically went on dates and I literally fell in love with him. But we never made it official because we were just afraid to get caught because we were together. We literally were not allowed to date. He was my manager. So cute because anytime we were alone in the break room, we'd grab each other and kiss, make out. Any little moment we had together, we would just sneak off and no one noticed until first night that I spent over his house. We got caught the next day by one of our co-workers who luckily was a friend of ours because we were keeping it a complete secret. We told not a soul. We did a stock count at the store and got out of the store really late. So I spent the night at his house for the first time. Next day, I was outside, went to the store, but I was wearing the same outfit as the night before, so that kind of made it obvious. I ran into my coworker who happened to live in the same area and she noticed. Thankfully, she kept it a secret as well. What's funny is that eventually he ended up leaving that job that same year. We finally ended up becoming official because there was no reason to hide it anymore. And when I tell you, so many people were shocked. One thing about me is if I want people to know something about me, you will. And if I don't want you to know something about me, you won't. I could keep a fucking secret. Fast forward to 2024. And now we are Allison's parents. That is how I met Allison's dad. Bye.
Since y'all wanted a story time as to why my boyfriend, my ex, and I broke up, I am just gonna do a little bit of a story time explaining why my ex and I broke up. Basically, it was about to be our 3rd year anniversary. We were coming close to it, and we were already having problems, okay? Because the thing with this man was that I literally spent like a whole month and a half going to sleep over at his house because he wanted me to go sleep over. I wanted to go to sleep over. Like, everybody wanted me to be sleeping over there, right? I guess it was just convenient for everything for me to be sleeping over there. You know, I would still come to my house every single day and spend the day here and stuff, but when it was nighttime, I would go and sleep with him because the way I saw it was, you know, like, this is, if we're trying to make our relationship strive, we're gonna do everything that we need to do to like make it work, right? Right. The problems really started happening when I like tell him like, hey, like, I think it's time that you come to sleep over at my house for a while, you know, like, let's like switch it up so I'm not always staying at your house to sleep. Bitch, he would spend like 2 nights here and his mom would already be like, oh, like, I miss you, like, you need to come home, like, you need to come sleep over, like, you don't sleep here. Like, it would just be this big thing. And it's like, I totally understand you, like, maybe you miss your son, he was the only child, but like, can you understand that now he's in a relationship and like he gets to be with his girlfriend? Like, you know, it's not like I have him here the whole day. Like, he goes and spends the day over there too. Like, I don't expect him to be with me the whole day. It's just to sleep. Like, who is he sleeping with? Is he sleeping with you or is he sleeping with me? Because I'm a little fucking confused. Like, I would like tell him like, hey, like, you need to have a talk with your mother and like explain to her so she like respects what you're doing. And it's not just like, because then she would call him and he'd be like, oh yes mom, like, it's okay, like, I'm gonna go sleep over there tomorrow. Mind you, he's like 22, 23. So it was just annoying because you're such an old man. I'm 19, like, I'm making it all work for you. My parents got no problem with it. They're okay with what I'm doing, and then I'm sitting here dealing with your parents because, like, I don't know, you know, and I don't mean to come for the parents or nothing because I don't know how I'm gonna be when I have kids or nothing. Like, I don't mean to do that, but it's like, bruh, like, have some respect. I think that the part that was most annoying was that he would literally tell her like, hey, like, I'm gonna go sleep over there, mom, like, just relax, like, it's okay. And he would like promise that shit, and it's like, why are you even doing that when you know you're not gonna want to sleep over there? Like, you're gonna want to sleep with me. Like, what are you doing? Like, why do you even do that? Why don't you just have a serious talk with your mom and like explain to her to just fucking relax? Anyways, go to part 2, bitch. My ex and I broke up. If you haven't watched part 1, go fucking watch it because then it's not gonna make no fucking sense. It got to the point where this man would literally spend a whole fucking hour or 2 outside in his car just talking to his parents about this bullshit. Like, that shit was so annoying. Like, there was one night where I come outside and he's literally not in his car. Like, I'm like, where the fuck is this motherfucker at, bro? I call him and he's like super fucking frustrated because, you know, what's happening with his parents. And it was just this big thing. Like, bro, why are y'all putting this much stress in our fucking relationship? What I really didn't like is that I feel like he didn't have a voice of his own in that shit. Like, he would just go with whatever his parents were telling him. And that was really fucking annoying because it was like he was telling me one thing, but then if his parents brought up some other shit, then that would like change the whole thing around, you know? So that was really frustrating. And in that whole time, since it's about to be our fucking 3rd year anniversary, he's planning this whole trip to Colorado because we've already been there before, but we didn't get to see everything that we wanted to see, so we kind of wanted to go back and stuff. But bitch, it was getting to the point where I literally told him like, listen, like, we're gonna go on this trip, but like, we're breaking up. Like, we're breaking up after this trip. I really don't give a fuck. Like, yes, I'm going because you've already paid for everything and everything is paid for. But, like, we're breaking up after this because I can't deal with this shit no more. I do truly feel that he felt as if that trip was going to fix the whole relationship. But what he wasn't realizing is that what he needed to do was talk to his parents and explain to him what the fuck. Like, have a whole conversation with them. Like, a serious conversation. Like, sit down with them. And that would have fixed the fucking relationship because the problems were coming because of that. They were not like, oh, we're going to go on this trip and the problems are going to be gone. Like, no, you still have the same parents. You just need to talk to them. So then I think it was like a couple days after. It was the night before we were going on that trip, which was at 3 a.m. That trip was supposed to be at 3 a.m. on that day, whatever. The day before, his dad calls my dad and he's like, listen, like, you need to speak to your daughter and like tell her that they cannot go on this trip. Like, they're not going on this trip. It's his big fucking thing. And basically the dad just didn't want it to come from him. Like, he wanted me to be the one to be like, hey babe, like, we can't go on this trip. What the fuck, bitch? Go to part 3.
Things my ex did to me and I still stayed. This could be about one ex or multiple. You take your pick. Let's just get right into it. Tried to choke me in a corner while drunk, and no, not in a fun way. Really shouldn't be laughing because it's not funny, but like at this point, it's how I cope. Number 2, wrote a girl's phone number in his notes app while he was out at a bar. And yes, I did find this in his notes the next day. Figured out what area code that girl's phone number was and figured out who the girl was. Forced me to buy a gym membership because he would tell me that I'm fat. And here's the bonus to this one. He would force me to go with him multiple times a week. Not to mention, this gym membership was not cheap. I did not want to be spending my money on it. He would force me to send him pictures of every single thing that I ate to make sure that I wasn't eating too much. And if I was, he would make me go to the gym that day if I hadn't. Oh my gosh. Would constantly tell his roommates that he wants to hook up with his math teacher, like the assistant one. And typically the assistant teachers were like our age, so that just made it so weird. I mean, regardless, it's weird, but yeah, I would have to know that every single time he would go to that class every week that he would be thinking about hooking up with her. So awesome. But shout out to his roommates for letting me know this. That's how I found out a lot of this, so this makes it even funnier. Next one might be the best one. He invited a girl over while I was already in his bed sleeping for the night. Like, fully, I was already asleep for the whole entire night. We were sleeping at his house, and he invited a girl over, and they hung out downstairs, like 1 floor below where I was sleeping. And not only did he invite one girl, he invited their whole friend group. He was hanging out with the whole friend group. This was a girl he used to talk to as well. Thought I'd mention that. Yup, just sound asleep in my boyfriend's bed, and there he was, 1 floor below, inviting girls over that he used to talk to. Awesome. And I did find this out through his text messages on his phone when the girl literally said, almost there. And I got confirmation from the roommates. So again, shout out to the roommates. He would FaceTime girls behind my back and then delete it off of his phone, but then I'd find it on his computer the next morning. Again, these are girls that he did used to talk to, so that makes it even better, right? If we ever were having an argument in the car, he would force me to get out of the car and then literally leave me there, even if it was in the middle of nowhere and I had no way to get back. Sometimes he would come back for me, but if he did, he would just call me a bitch the whole entire car ride home, or just multiple names that I cannot say on here. But I mean, like, at least he picked me up. In my head, I was like, oh, he's so sweet. Like, he came back for me. That was so nice of him. And I'm not even kidding. Like, literally, that went through my head. I was supposed to pick him up from the bar this one night, but he wasn't answering me, which kind of made me nervous, and the bar was already closed, so I drove all the way there to see what was going on and found him on the sidewalk, walking home with a girl. So I pulled over and said, guys, get in! I'll drive you home. And yes, I drove her home. And I stayed with him. I mean, I had to talk with him the next morning, but I stayed with him. Yeah. Fun fact, this was the exact same girl whose phone number he wrote in his notes where I figured out the area code, so that was even more fun for me. I was like, oh, all the pieces are coming together. So fun. And yes, you guessed it, he did this same exact thing with the same exact girl the weekend after. I did still stay, even though he did it for a second time. 2 weekends in a row. This one night, we were in like a really bad fight, so he invited a girl over 5 minutes after I left, and I only know this because his roommates told me the next day. So, isn't that so fun? Gosh, all these are so fun. Isn't this just awesome? This next one is really fun. A girl in my sorority who I wasn't that close with called me and she said, hey, I saw your boyfriend dancing and like doing other things with this girl at a bar last night. I just want to make sure that you guys are still dating. I was like, what? I said, yep, we are still dating. Thank you for letting me know. Here's another good one that I actually found out myself from looking through his phone. He went up to a girl at a bar and told her that he wishes they never stopped talking. And I found this out because there was a text message from her on his phone that said, did you really mean everything you said last night? What did he say? What the hell did he say? Awesome. So game days at Alabama are like a really big deal, but he decided last minute that he did not want me a part of his plans anymore. But it was too late to go with my friends instead because they were already at the game and I didn't have a ticket because I was planning to hang out with him, which he just removed me from his plans. So I spent my game day going to a place called Chicken Salad Chick all by myself and I ate inside there alone. Yep, all alone, eating lunch by myself, and no, he did not care or feel bad, but I did meet up with my friends later, so. This next one I found out about after we broke up, but I had to include it. He was out at the bar with his friends and saw a girl that he used to talk to. This girl did not like him. Like, she had him blocked on everything, like every social media, but apparently seeing her at the bar made him miss her, so guess what he did? Later in the night, he walked to her apartment, knocked on her door, and begged if she would talk to him. Basically, he begged her to unblock him on everything, and she said, no, please get out of my apartment, but apparently it took forever for him to leave. So, yeah, and we were fully dating, and I had no idea until after we broke up, so awesome. A lot of the times his friends would yell at him to stop calling me names and yelling at me like the way he did, but he would just ignore them and keep doing it. So, okay, last one, best one. I don't know if I can say this one. So he would force me to wake up at 4 a.m. to go stand outside of Target with him because he always wanted these sports cards, but it was like limited to one per person. He would force me to go with him so he could get more packs of the cards. And if I didn't go with him, he would like try and break up with me, so I'd go every single time because I was scared that he was gonna do that. So I just did everything that I thought would please him, which is so sad, so sad. So for all my girlies, if you're in a relationship that is similar to any of the things that I said, that is not normal behavior, and do not stay because I wish I didn't. I am so glad that I finally got out of that, and yeah, just please make sure you're safe and don't stay. I have had multiple boyfriends in high school and in college too, so these stories could have been about any of them. I now have the best boyfriend in the whole entire world, so I am very thankful for that. Love you guys, bye!
In honor of today being Valentine's Day, here's things that exes and guys that I had things with did to me over the past couple of years. And this is in no particular order. I was told that I was not allowed to go out to the bars, to frats, to any kind of party where there would be men. Then when I did anyways, I was yelled at and told that it's not that I don't trust you, it's I don't trust other guys. I got broken up with in 2 Snapchats, and when I was crying begging for an explanation, I did not receive one. Then we got back together over the summer, and I decided that I wanted to go off to college and not be with him, so I did the same thing, broke up with him in like 2 Snapchats, and he threw a whole fit when the Uno reverse card was pulled on him and told everyone I cheated on him. When it was our second Valentine's Day together, I offered to help contribute to dinner because this man had no money, and he said no, he wanted to get me flowers, so he ended up getting me flowers and complained the entire time how they were $50 and now he has 0 money and I should be very appreciative. I even offered to help pay for dinner because I'd rather do something that we can do together, but he insisted on flowers and complained about how expensive they were the entire time. The whole family got broken up with 3 days later. Told me that he no longer thought it was a good idea for him to sign a lease with me because it would make no sense for him financially since he was only going to be there on the weekends, and then completely screwed me out of multiple apartments because now I had to do everything in my name and the double income was like gone. Then when I did get an apartment, obviously I was paying for everything. He would just essentially live there and not contribute to anything and just mooch off of me. We would be hanging out and he would be scrolling on his phone, and this one Instagram model once popped up, so I looked over and I was like, oh, who is that? And he basically showed me her whole page and told me that if I worked out or got boob implants or started actually paying attention to trying to grow my butt and my boobs, that I would also look like her. And then he offered to pay for a boob job so I could look like her. Would yell at me when I would ask him to unfollow Instagram models or other girls that I was not really comfortable with him looking at. The reasoning I got for why my boyfriend was liking a bunch of girls' pictures was, oh, I don't really look at what I like, I just like anything that comes up on my Instagram timeline. For my birthday, and he knew that I had a really bad association with my birthday up to that point because I had some terrible friends in the past that really ruined it for me. I was told that he was going to take me out to dinner about 20 minutes away, which was like a couple exits away from where I lived. Then the day of my birthday came, he decided that he doesn't want to take me out to dinner. He's way too tired and needs to rest and recharge. So when I offered to drive, he said, no, it's too far, handed me a $100 bill and said, go crazy. And this was after I told him I wanted my birthday to be special because it had been ruined for me for years leading up to this birthday. Threw a whole fit about having to move me into my apartment. I would take the city bus all the time, and I would ask for a ride sometimes because some of the people on the city bus really scared me and made me uncomfortable. And then one time when I realized I was getting followed home, I asked if he could come meet me at a different bus stop so I can get off the bus faster. He threw a whole fit because he can't relax and stay at home. He has to come and get me. The bus once also broke down, and then he threw a whole fit about having to come get me. The ride was like 10-15 minutes down the road, but oh my god, it's so annoying. I have to go get her. The bus broke down and she's stranded. How annoying. When I was upset about a TikTok hate comment about my appearance, he laughed at the fact that I was upset and said, well, maybe you shouldn't do TikTok if you can't handle comments like that. And then he went ahead and agreed with the hate comment. Told me multiple times to my face that he didn't like my Instagram post or how I looked and that I should take it down. When I put a business email in my TikTok bio, he laughed at me and said it was stupid. When one of my TikToks was blowing up, he said that it doesn't deserve to go viral and that the like to view ratio wasn't good enough. I told him I didn't want him visiting me a particular weekend in college. He threw a whole fit and said he was going to show up anyways. Friends all of high school. Right after high school, when we started getting romantically involved, dropped me and broke my heart. I got into a fight with one of my parents really badly when I was out to dinner with him, and when we sat down and I was crying because the fight was like really, really bad, the waitress came over and asked if I was okay, and then he looked at me and said that I was embarrassing him. Anytime we would go out to dinner, it was always a complaint over how expensive it was. But that complaint was never there when I was the one that was paying. I just remember this one. This one was actually crazy. When I wanted to go out and get a bowl to eat, I wanted to go get some Core Life, and he wanted Chipotle. Because he offered to drive, we pulled up to Core Life, I got my bowl, went back into the car, then we went to Chipotle. He parked the car and said, "All right, you're gonna come inside and pay for my bowl because I drove." And then when I looked at him and I was like, he was like, "Well, now you're gonna make me feel bad about it." Would get mad at me anytime I didn't want to. One time I forgot my food at home and I asked him if he could bring it to me at work, and he threw a whole fit about having to carve time out of his day to come and bring me food that was my responsibility to bring. Told me not to worry about this one girl and then got with her right after we broke up. I was not allowed to date in high school, so when he demanded that I ask my dad if he could come over, and I finally did because he was pressuring me into texting him even though I was terrified and did not want to, and when the answer was no, he yelled at me. I asked him to brush his teeth twice a day, and he told me that he doesn't like the taste of toothpaste and I can't force him. Told me I'm too clean and that he should be able to leave his muddy boots wherever he wants, and I shouldn't throw a fit about him putting mud everywhere. Found out I was not the only one when I looked over at his phone and there was tons of Snapchat notifications. Girl, 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 girl. All down his phone. Would send me an Amazon list of all the Christmas gifts he wants, and if I missed something or wanted to do something out of the Christmas list, I would be complained to and told that I missed something and that I shouldn't have gone outside the list. I should have just stayed to what he wanted. And then every single time we did gifts for each other, he would complain about how expensive mine were. One time we were at a mall and I really wanted to go into Sephora, and he refused to let me go into Sephora. So finally when I begged him, he put a 5-minute timer on his phone, and then when I walked in there, he kept tapping his phone as the time was going down. So finally I stormed out of the store because I will not be put on a time limit, and I didn't like how he was rushing me. And then proceeded to get mad at me when I was upset that he did that. Started a whole fight knowing that I was at a family function and said, "Yeah, I know that you're at a family function. I think it's the perfect time to start bringing stuff up." Went from being one of my best friends to only hitting me up on Snapchat when he wanted to see me. Told me that I would be prettier if I had a bigger butt. Planned a whole date for us and then ghosted me. Slid into my DMs and asked for my contact information, talked to me for one whole summer, and then dropped me out of nowhere. Would pretend to not see me or not know who I am when we saw each other out at parties. Would compare me to OF models that he would subscribe and watch, and told me that I should try a little harder to look like them. Said that me working retail is stupid, even though that is what paid my bills for years. I would buy him presents from these retail locations that I worked at, and every single time it was, "Oh, this won't fit. No, I don't like this. I don't want this." Then I would start answering less and less because I was just distancing myself. I was emotionally done. He would freak out, spam text me, and essentially demand me to talk to him. Would make fun of Polish food that I had prepared or stuff that my parents brought me. Would make fun of me anytime that I would be upset and express that I wanted to see him and that I missed him. He would literally laugh at the fact that I would get upset that he was leaving somewhere. This being my second Valentine's Day single, I would say I am much happier knowing that I can be my own Valentine versus have someone complain about having to spend it with me. This was all about several people, not just one. Now that all these situations are done and over with and I experienced them, I find humor in coping with everything that happened, but I did learn a lot. Happy Valentine's Day. Never settle for anything less than you deserve. Bye.